in the many profound tributes that have been delivered over the past week by a number of people, both here and abroad, the overriding sentiment has been that his passing marks the end of an era. He belonged to an era of tireless struggle, of sacrifice and service, of honor and integrity. It was an era of leaders who embodied the best in humanity. Andrew Mlangeni, as we have heard, was among the very first recruits of Umkhonto weSizwe, the People's Army that fought for liberation. And of course, he was the last surviving Rivonia trialist. He was also the last to testify at that trial. He was given the gift of time that his fellow Rivonia trialists were not. But he was also one of the last of extraordinary generation of freedom fighters. The black, green, and gold colors of his movement, the African National Congress, flowed through the veins of our departed leader. He served his movement and his country loyally for over 7 decades. The struggle for freedom and democracy was his life. And the freedom that we enjoy today is his legacy to us. He was a product of the golden age of our struggle, when sacrifice and commitment to freedom was the only consideration that motivated leaders to be involved in the struggle. He belonged to the era when leaders were even prepared to die for the struggle for freedom. It was just a few weeks ago that we laid to rest his dear friend and comrade, Isithwalandwe Siaparankwe, Dennis Goldberg. To lose both of them in such quick succession is indeed a blow. The great cohort to which they belonged is now in full complement in the celestial realm. They join their comrades Nelson Mandela, Govan Mbeki, Walter Sisulu, Oliver Tambo, Raymond Mhlaba, Elias Motsoaledi, Albertina Sisulu, Ahmed Kathrada, Winnie Madikizela Mandela, and many others. Andrew Mlangeni was never afraid to confront the vices that can too easily engulf a nation emerging from a broken past. Just as he dedicated his life to ending the corruption of the human soul that apartheid typified, so too would he speak out against the greed and the avarice that threatened to erode our hard-won democracy. Always faithful to the principles of his movement, the African National Congress, always true to its revolutionary discipline, he understood his responsibility to challenge the abuse of power and also the plunder of public resources. He understood his responsibility to remind us of the solemn commitment we have made to future generations and would not hesitate to tell us when we fell short or when we faltered. It is nearly 60 years since Mlangeni and his comrades made a bold and audacious statement to the world. And they said, open quotes, "The time comes in the life of any nation where there remain only two choices, submit or fight. That time has now come to South Africa. We shall not submit, and we have no choice but to hit back by all means within our power in defense of our people, our future, and our freedom," close quotes. These words may belong to another era, but their significance resonates across the decades. We are once again faced with a choice to submit or to fight. Let us declare here in honor and in memory of Andrew Mlangeni that we will not submit. We will not submit to coronavirus. We will defeat it. But let us also declare that we will not submit to poverty and inequality. We should also be bold enough to say we will not submit to corruption and greed, to mismanagement and complacency, and to the abuse of public resources. We will not submit to gender-based violence and femicide. We will not submit to the destruction of our planet, to the neglect of our children. We will not submit to despair and despondency or cynicism. We have no choice but to fight. To fight for equality and justice, for water and electricity and food in every home, for land to farm and factories to run, for quality health care, for decent education, for peace and safety. We have to fight for honest, committed and capable leaders, for democratic institutions that are strong and durable, for equality between men and women, for the rule of law and the realization of equal rights for all. For it is then, when we are engaged in this struggle, that we will pay our beloved father, leader, friend, and comrade the greatest and the most enduring tribute.